Now at 6:30, Ohio University faculty are officially unionizing. This after a hard-won battle with university administration. Plus,
I have real privacy concerns here.
The IRS is close to striking a deal with the Department of Homeland Security to share data, which experts say could expose taxpayer information. What to know about the deal and how it could put your data at risk.
And in sports, Zita Zoki makes Ohio and MAC history as the Bobcats dominate the Diamond. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Morgan Anderson.
And I'm Reese Thompson. Welcome to Newswatch.
It's been a pretty windy day here in Athens, no denying that, but can we expect more tonight?
Let's turn it over to forecaster Calvin Stebbin with more.
Yeah, so that wind really is going to be sticking around for most of tonight and even into a little bit of tomorrow. But currently here in Athens, it is 59 degrees, and we're seeing a bunch of that in our surrounding areas. Just south of I-70, 56 in Zanesville, and 56 in Lancaster. And through the Ohio River Valley, 61 in Huntington, and 58 in Parkersburg. And that wind has kind of just been sticking around, and that's because the National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement, which is pretty much saying we're going to see wind gusts up to 35 to 45 mile per hour. So if you are driving, make sure you give yourself extra time because those wind gusts could blow your car around the road. 58 in Athens currently, and we're seeing those gusts up to 31 miles per hour. And as we head into tonight, 37 with the low, and those partly cloudy skies will be sticking around. Now heading into tomorrow, we got that chance of rain coming right back into our area with a 50% chance of showers and a high of 51. Stay tuned to see my full weather.
Ohio University faculty are now unionized.
Yes, a press release says that members voted 453 to 189 in favor of unionizing.
The votes were counted this morning. Members are joining faculty at 12 unionized campuses in Ohio who are a part of the American Federation of Teachers and the American Association of University Professors.
Efforts to unionize took off last year, but faced delays over disputes between university administrators and faculty about who could join the union. The new Brown Stadium could receive a $600 million bond package from the state. That's if the Ohio legislature approves the draft legislation in the budget bill. If passed, this would replace Governor DeWine's previous proposal, which would have doubled the taxes on sports betting operations. The bond package would cost the state over $13 million in its first year. Then it would grow to $40 million by 2029. The state would pay nearly $1 billion by the end.
Ohio voters aren't selecting their next governor until November 2026, but one candidate is already racking up endorsements. Vivek Ramaswamy has U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno's support. Ramaswamy is also backed by over half of Ohio's Republican senators, and he has President Donald Trump's endorsement. That was a big blow to candidate Dave Yost, who received Trump's support when he was reelected as Attorney General. Current Governor Mike DeWine hasn't endorsed anyone.
The Ohio State House and Senate unanimously passed a 2-year transportation budget. This is the first of 4 budget bills that needs the governor's signature. The bill requires voters to show proof of citizenship. That's something Democrats believe should have its own legislation. The Senate took out a provision that would allow it to expand its passenger railroad. The House wanted Ohio to rejoin the Midwest Interstate Passenger Rail Commission. That would have cost the state $25,000 a year.
Former U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown launches an economy-focused think tank. The Dignity of Work Institute is a nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank. Brown said Americans don't feel heard by those in Washington when it comes to workers' needs. Brown also said the institute aims to put a larger focus on workers' interests in national politics. He said he hopes the organization will provide data that will guide future economic policies. Now that President Donald Trump announced his plans to dismantle the Department of Education, state officials are wondering what that means for school funding. Governor Mike DeWine was at the White House when Trump signed the executive order dismantling the DOE. DeWine said he doesn't know if the amount of funding will change or if it will just change forms. He also said there is an assumption the money will come from a different department, which he thinks will get rid of some of the red tape and make it easier to access funding.
STEM education is starting young with this program. Little scientists got to test out their theories at this year's Family Science Saturday. Kids were able to conduct fun experiments on everything from elephant toothpaste, slime to shrinky dinks. And the goal is to teach them how different elements react with one another to create a final product. Alpha Chi Sigma, better known as AXE, hosted the event. Organizers say although the event is about having fun, they hope this introduces science to students who may not have access to STEM-related programs in school.
I hope that they realize that they can have a passion for something and that passion could turn into something that they really do want to do, because that's what everybody here is doing currently.
AXE plans to continue hosting community outreach events to inspire young students to get involved in STEM. For more information on AXE and future events, visit their Instagram at AXE Gamma New. Turning now to the national stage, the IRS is close to finalizing an agreement that would allow ICE access to confidential taxpayer information to locate undocumented immigrants.
Amy Kiley reports working with immigration officials could represent a loosening of those protections.
I have real privacy concerns here.
The IRS and Department of Homeland Security appear closer to finalizing an information sharing agreement. A person familiar with the matter says it would enable ICE to submit names and addresses of people who might be in the U.S. illegally. The source says the IRS could then cross-reference and confirm that information.
The goal of this appears to be speeding up President Trump's deportation effort.
The president's supporters say his immigration policies are what voters want.
You have an administration and a president that is strong in their conviction that they have a mandate from the voters to act, particularly on the issue of illegal immigration.
Critics say involving the IRS could endanger taxpayer privacy. The agency works under laws that usually prohibit the release of personal information.
There is a process in place for a court to look at that and decide whether or not that information should be released.
This legal analyst notes President Donald Trump's attorneys fought in court to keep his own tax records private.
And there was this huge claim that there would be, in fact, that this was some privacy information that should be let out under federal law. And so that's really the issue here.
Many taxpayers have common names like John Smith. Advocates argue that could cause errors if the IRS worked with ICE.
We're inevitably going to be encroaching on the taxes and the privacy of American citizens.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The Trump administration is using a historic act to quickly deport some migrants for whom the U.S. has accused of being affiliated with a Venezuelan gang. The Alien Enemies Act is an 18th century law previously used when the U.S. was at war. Trump said he wants to use the act because he believes it gives him tremendous authority and because deportations and detentions under the law don't have to go through immigration courts. But this argument is being challenged.
Not at war with Venezuela. We haven't declared war on them. They haven't declared war on us.
Some families are insisting their loved ones are not members of the gang and should never have been deported. But for now, the legal battle continues. The U.S. and Venezuela are once again engaged in repatriation flights. Video shows about 200 deportees exiting the first one in the capital city of Caracas earlier today. The U.S. Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs says they've reached Venezuela after a brief stop to change planes in Honduras. The resumption of flights comes after a pause in February in reaction to an oil company license dispute. Now Venezuelans are demanding the return of immigrants the U.S. flew to El Salvador for imprisonment earlier this month. President Trump threatened to place a 25% tariff on goods from any country that buys oil or gas from Venezuela. Trump said the South American nation has been very hostile toward the U.S. He claimed that Venezuela has purposefully sent criminals to the U.S. This comes after reports Trump will delay prior duties he announced. Those duties were set to take effect April 2nd, the same day Trump said he'll announce a number of reciprocal tariffs on other nations. Venezuela was one of the top foreign suppliers of oil to the U.S. last year. But Venezuela trails far behind America's top source of foreign oil, Canada.
New research projects the United States is at risk of receiving its first ever default unless Congress acts on the debt ceiling. This report comes from the Bipartisan Policy Center today. The center says the exact date of this projection depends on the revenue collection from this year's tax season. The U.S. hit its roughly $36 trillion debt limit on January 21st. The Treasury Department used cash on hand to pay bills to avoid a first ever default. The Treasury Department says it will extend those measures through June 27th to give Congress time to address the debt ceiling. The Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to put a hold on the ruling reinstating thousands of fired probationary federal employees. The emergency appeal comes after a federal judge in San Francisco issued a preliminary injunction earlier this month. It required 6 federal agencies to immediately offer 16,000 probationary employees their jobs back. The firings were part of the government's efforts to quickly downsize its workforce. The Trump administration's request to the Supreme Court comes as the Federal Appeals Court considers a similar emergency appeal from the administration. That appeal was filed on March 14th. Coming up,
it's really an opportunity to kind of get out of that hibernation mode.
how spring cleaning can benefit your mental health.
And there's no doubt that college in the U.S. is expensive. The rising cost of college tuition is a growing problem for most Americans. How can you cut the cost?
Rain is forecasted later in the week. How will that affect up into the weekend? Stay tuned to see my full weather forecast.
It's definitely a story that needs to be told.
When he came home, he was Joel Huffman. When he walked out to go to work, he was Mr. Cardoon.
He's the type of guy that he just lets you feel you're his friend.
One of the things that Joel Huffman showed everybody was you have to be human.
You made my life something special.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go.
How would you know you got here?
It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Good evening and happy Monday. It has been a beautiful day here in Athens, and that's really because of a high pressure system that has kind of just stuck around over the last couple of days. But in the upcoming week, we are going to see this low pressure system starting to develop in the Tennessee-Kentucky border, start to affect us later in the week as the chance of rain will start to appear later in our forecast. But as of right now, it is clear skies and lots of high pressure. If we take a look at our satellite, we can see cloud cover start to form as that low pressure system starts to develop and intensify even a little bit more. But the National Weather Service has issued a special weather statement, and that's because of the wind. We have seen wind gusts up to 35 to 45 miles per hour, and because of this, the National Weather Service issued this special weather statement. And taking a look at our 6 to 10 day outlook of our temperatures, we are going to see a bit of a warm up, and that's just because we are going to see lots of warm fronts start to come through over the upcoming days, and it's going to be a nice couple of days in the upcoming forecast. Currently in Athens, it is 58 degrees with partly cloudy skies, and we're seeing gusts up to 31 miles per hour. And those gusts are going to stick around tonight along with those clouds, as partly cloudy skies will be sticking around with an overnight low of 37. Heading into tomorrow, we are going to see that chance of rain showers start to come back into our area with a high of 51 and a low of 30. So if you are heading out tomorrow, make sure you grab an umbrella because it will be a bit of a wetter day outside. Taking a look at tomorrow, a closer look at tomorrow, we can see this low pressure system on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee start to intensify. Alongside with this, we have a little bit of a cold sector with it, so these rain showers will be moving up and intensifying as they continue to track along. Tomorrow night, we're going to see that low pressure system move just a little bit more eastward. And alongside with that, that cold front is also becoming more dominant. So those rain chances are really going to start to develop and sit over our area over tomorrow night. But heading into Wednesday, we're going to see this high pressure system start to develop. But heading into Wednesday morning, this rain and wintry mix is going to move out of our area and kind of get replaced by this high pressure as it continues to track towards our area. Taking a look at our 7-day outlook, Tuesday, 50% chance of showers with a high of 51 and a low of 30. Those rain showers are moving out of our area heading into Wednesday. 51 will be your high with partly sunny skies and a low of 30. Much of the same heading into Thursday with partly sunny skies, but we're going to see a nice warm trend, 59 with a high and a low of 41. Heading into Friday, the chance of rain moves back into our area with a 30% chance of showers, high of 68 and a low of 53. Saturday, high of 73 and a low of 57, and those rain chances are going to be sticking around into early next week.
Thanks, Calvin. Always a great work as always. Spring is finally here, and for many people, myself included, that means it's time to clean up.
Yes, me as well. But did you know that tidying up can give your brain a boost? Mandy Gaither spoke with psychologists to discuss the effects spring cleaning has on people's mental health.
So long, winter. It's time to welcome a new season. Spring has finally sprung, and if you're thinking of cleaning out your home, it may also help your health.
When we engage in some sort of spring cleaning, it helps us kind of declutter not only our environment, but it can also help us declutter our minds.
Psychologist Adam Borland with Cleveland Clinic says spring cleaning can give our brains a boost, helping us to manage stress, elevate our mood, and provide a sense of accomplishment, which can all go a long way to helping mental health.
Spring cleaning can help us improve our focus. It can help with energy in terms of finding small activities in order to engage with and then seeing those through to completion. If we enlist the help of others, there can certainly be a social dynamic as well.
But Borland says a key to decluttering your home and mind is not tackling too much at one time. He says to set small goals and get the easiest item on your list done first. If procrastination is stopping you, take advantage of good days when you have more energy. Once you start, it'll be easier to get through it. And make it a team effort. Enlisting others can help get the job done. Finally, focus on the happiness a cleaner home will bring.
It's really an opportunity to kind of get out of that hibernation mode. Cleaning up the house can feel like a sense of rejuvenation and kind of restarting, which can be a wonderful feeling, especially after the long months of winter.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Pope Francis was discharged from the hospital after a lengthy battle with double pneumonia. The 88-year-old pontiff made his first public appearance in 5 weeks yesterday from the balcony of the hospital as crowds rejoice in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis will still need rest and therapy, but the Vatican says his spirits are high. The Pope will recover at Casa Santa Maria, which is the residence at the Vatican. Doctors say Pope Francis will stay in recovery for the next 2 months to regain his strength.
The cost of college has skyrocketed over the past 30 years. Many Americans cannot afford to attend a four-year university without taking out a loan. Jen Sullivan sat down with a financial analyst to learn why college is so expensive and how people can cut the cost of higher education.
The cost of college has risen dramatically in the last 3 decades. Inflation and increasing operating costs have caused colleges to charge more. They're also receiving less federal funding.
There's no doubt that college in the U.S. is expensive.
Alex Gailey is an analyst at financial company Bankrate. They recently broke down the cost of tuition plus fees like room and board for this current academic year and estimated the average in-state tuition and room and board at a public four-year college was nearly $25,000 a year. Out-of-state students paid an average of $44,000 a year. A private four-year college costs close to $59,000 a year.
I think people just aren't feeling like maybe the ROI of college degrees is the same as it was a few decades ago.
There are things students can do to lower some of these costs.
One way to immediately cut down the cost of college is being willing to attend a college that is near where you live and living at home.
Consider attending a community college and then transferring to a four-year college. Apply for work-study jobs, look into financial help like student loans, scholarships, and grants, and choose a degree with a positive return on your investment. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Next in sports, history across Athens. Whether on the diamond or in the pool, it was a great weekend to be a Bobcat. Find out more next.
Don't we all need a little fun?
What do you suggest?
All will be revealed.
Now, if you'll allow me to begin.
Do what you must.
The life we've chosen is about love.
That will require some difficult decisions.
I gave the king what he asked for.
Yes, I wonder, will he ever forgive you for it?
Some close to you do not wish you well.
I have to be a queen with real power.
Sunday on WOUB.
We are a modern regime. I don't fear anyone. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm not a woman. I'm a queen with real power. I cannot face this world without you. My destiny is to rule. This is not a request.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Time. It's an interesting thing. We always wonder what time it is, and other times we wonder, where does it go? That's because time flies and waits for no one. So, is it time to donate that car that keeps costing you money? If you've been waiting to give to public television, consider donating a car, truck, or RV. And we'll arrange for a free pickup. You may even qualify for a tax deduction. There's no time like now. Donate today.
On American Experience, a look at the decades-long struggle for disability rights in America.
We feel like we're building a real social movement.
There are barriers every single step of the way.
But we realize that people with disabilities could be a political force.
Our time has come. Pass this bill now.
Change, not charity. The Americans with Disabilities Act on American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld with sports. History was in the air over the weekend for Ohio athletics. Let's start in the pool. Zita Zoki became the first Bobcat swimmer to earn All-American honor since 2000. She placed 11th nationally in the 100-meter freestyle with a time of 47.62. Zoki also set the MAC record with the time. It was the highest finish for a Bobcat swimmer since 1995 and the highest of any MAC swimmer this year. Zoki placed 44th in the 50 free and 20th in the 200 free. She also set the school record in the 200 free. Craig Moore earned his 100th win as a manager this Friday when Ohio baseball outslugged Toledo 16-4. Ben Slinker was the offensive engine behind the rout. He smacked a 3-run homer to extend the Bobcat lead to 7 runs in the 5th inning. Shortstop J.R. Nelson had an impressive show at the plate too, adding 3 hits to lead the Bobcats. Ohio finished the day with 15 hits. Blake Gasky earned his 2nd win of the season pitching, and he hurled 6 strong innings, allowing only 2 earned runs. Unfortunately, Ohio could not complete the sweep. The Bobcats' potent bats were silenced by the Rockets on Saturday and Sunday, falling 7-3 and 1-0. Ohio's 2 hits on Sunday were their fewest all year. Despite the losses, Ohio got some of their best pitching of the year. Saturday, Hudson Bonkel went 6 strong, allowing 0 earned runs and striking out 6. Sunday, Dylan Master totaled 6 1/3 innings pitched, allowing just a single run. Ohio softball has begun MAC play in dominant fashion, sweeping the visiting Buffalo Bulls. In Friday's doubleheader, the Bobcats twice beat the Bulls by mercy rule. In Game 1 of the doubleheader, Ohio chased Buffalo's pitcher after a third of an inning. An 8-run onslaught by the Bobcats was all the offense they needed. They won 8-0. CeCe Keitel led the team in hits, scoring the first run of the game and driving in the final run of the 8-run outburst. Anna Wise was almost untouchable for the Bobcats. She went the distance in the abbreviated game, throwing 5 scoreless innings, allowing only 3 hits while striking out 3 and walking 0. The second verse was the same as the first. In the second inning of the second game, the Bobcats had already jumped out to a 5-0 lead. Behind 13 hits, Ohio cruised past Buffalo 10-0. Sydney Young had a homer, and Colleen Bear added a pinch hit homer to cap Ohio's scoring in the fourth. Skip Miller followed up Wise's stellar performance with one of her own. She went 5 scoreless innings, allowing just 3 hits and 2 walks while striking out 6. The finale was the same as the first. It was the first time in the series the Bulls plated a run, but it was still not enough. Behind 6 innings of 2-run ball from Miki Leaving, Ohio earned the series sweep. Ohio ended their 2-game skid on Friday with their first win in the series, and now they have a chance to extend their winning streak to 4 more against MAC competition. The Bobcats start a 3-game series at Northern Illinois on Friday with another doubleheader Saturday. Now, the Bobcats have yet to lose in MAC play, and Northern Illinois has just 2 wins to 4 losses. Ohio is currently tied for the lead in the conference. That's a wrap on sports.
Still ahead, calling all dog lovers. 2024's top dog breed was announced last week. Find out if your dog is the best in show.
Militant accelerationists are neo-Nazis who want to use terror and violence to bring down our government and create a new white ethno-state.
What's interesting about this collective is how transnational it is.
These people on Telegram were trying to stir other people to commit acts of incredible violence.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
When I play basketball, I feel like there's nothing that can stop me.
Come on, ladies, clean it up.
In a few minutes, we're going to play Providence. Ashley being a senior, I really hope we can show that maturity.
God. My mom raised me in Cambodia, and I raised Ashley here, so everything is different.
She's not patient enough. Sometimes it's too rushed.
If Ashley ends up taking 99% of the shots, we're going to be in trouble.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
She was such a trailblazer.
I wrote stories. Writing was almost like letters to myself.
I felt like I wanted to give voice to the landscape of being Latina.
If she harbored any resentment about her treatment, she never let it show.
There were no role models for someone like me in those days. Nobody.
Gather around, I got a story to tell.
WOUB Public Media is partnering with organizations across the region to celebrate Women's History Month with screenings of the independent Lens documentary Free for All, The Public Library. The film tells the story of the pioneering women behind the free library movement, while also talking about the issues libraries are dealing with present day. Join us throughout the month of March.
The American Kennel Club released their top dog breed of 2024. The French Bulldog was selected as the most popular purebred dog in the U.S. for the 3rd year in a row. The nonprofit says the Frenchie now occupies a solid place as, quote, America's sweetheart. The Kennel Club's next 5 most popular breeds are also maintained their ranking for 2023. In order, they're the Labrador Retriever, Golden Retriever, German Shepherd, Poodle, and Dachshund. But keep an eye out on the Cane Corso. Its popularity has soared by over 400% in the past decade and has jumped from 47th most popular to 14th.
So tonight is going to be a beautiful night out there. I mean, we're going to see a low of 37 with partly cloudy skies, so it is sweatshirt weather out there, which will be really nice. Heading into the rest of the week, though, we'll have a high of 51 and a low of 30, and its conditions will last throughout the entire week.
Thanks, Calvin. Sure will be a nice night, and that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Newswatch, I'm Morgan Anderson.
And I'm Reese Thompson. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.